Hey, book besties. Welcome to More Than a Book Club podcast. I'm your host, Leyna.
And I'm your other host, LJ.
And what are we talking about today, LJ? This is very exciting.
It is very exciting. We are talking about the book The Storm by Rachel Hawkins, which came out 6
January
days ago.
6th. Yeah.
Because today is January 12th. If you don't know The Storm, what it's about, I've got a nice blurb here, and I really hate the name of this fake town that she came up with.
Yes, but I feel like it served its purpose.
Okay, because I want to say St. Menard's Bay.
So I listened to the audio. So
how do they say it?
St. Menard's.
Oh my gosh, that's so much better because I'm like Medard. So St. Medard's. Okay.
St. Medard's. St. Medard's Bay.
Okay, here we go. I'm going to reframe my brain. Here we go. St. Medard's Bay, Alabama is famous for three things: the deadly hurricanes that regularly sweep into town, the Rosalie Inn, a century-old hotel that has survived every one of those storms, and Lo Bailey, the local girl infamously accused of the murder of her lover, political scion Landon Fitzroy, during Hurricane Marie in 1984. When Geneva Corliss, the current owner of the Rosalie Inn, hears a writer is coming to town to research the crime that put St. Medard's Bay on the map, she's less interested in solving a whodunit than in how a successful true crime book might help the struggling inn's bottom line. But to her surprise, August Fletcher doesn't come to St. Medard's Bay alone. With him is none other than Lo Bailey herself. Lo says she's returned to her hometown to clear her name once and for all, but the closer Geneva gets to both Lo and August, the more she wonders if Lo is actually back to settle old scores. As the summer heats up and another monster storm begins twisting its way towards St. Medard's, I'm moving around, Bay, Geneva learns that some people can be just as destructive and as deadly as any hurricane, and the truth of what happened to Landon Fitzroy may not be the only secret Lo is keeping.
So this book had so many good twists and turns. I was guessing the whole time. Like it kept me wanting to read. And
me too.
It was a shorter book. Because I think listening time, it was less than 10 hours. I know that. But it felt like it had such good pacing because I just felt like the next thing was right around the corner.
Yes.
And the way it did the storytelling, I thought was really cool because it would have first person and then it would go back in time a little bit and then it would have a news story. And then it would go back to first person. It kind of jumped around the different ways that it was told, which was really fun.
And you had to pay attention, too, because some of the, quote-unquote reports were from, you said, news articles, or it could be, found among the belongings of this person on this date. And so you're like, huh. So you're like, okay, there's all this stuff. You kind of... You have some questions. In addition to the mystery, you have more questions from the beginning because of those little pieces that you're like, okay, who's alive at the end of this story? Which made it very intriguing.
So the big thing is that there's a murder and Lo is accused of this murder. It's Landon Fitzroy. And you just talked about this in the synopsis, but the whole gist of the book is, did Lo do it?
Yes.
And they're trying to figure things out. And a lot of secrets are revealed along the way. Are we doing spoilers?
Okay, so
I don't know.
So I would say, something that we're talking about, which I think we will do some spoilers in this. What we are planning to do for which level of Patreon, is that the second or third level?
At either level, the supporter level or the friend level. So supporter level is $3 a month, or $36 for the year. And friend level is $5 a month or $60 for the year. We'll give a bonus episode. And in that bonus episode, we'll have the spoilers.
Yes. So that's something which that might not even be, this might be an extra bonus. It's one of the, probably both levels. But you'll get the spoilers. Normally what we're trying to do, and part of this is to honor the authors and their works, is to give spoiler-free reviews just out to the world and put an extra layer to make it harder to get the spoilers, even though I know the internet can give them all to you. But We can go about this however you want, Leyna.
It's hard to talk about if you don't talk about some of the
Yeah,
spoilers,
I know
because
it really is.
with all the twists and turns that come out. And so
Mm-hmm.
let's just say we're going to include some spoilers in this. In the future, this might be part of your Patreon paid
Yes.
membership that you're getting the spoilers.
Yes.
If y'all choose to do that, which again, if you want to just $36 for the whole year, you can get bonus episode. There's a couple other things that come with that. So there you go. There's our
Yes.
plug for Patreon. If you want to follow us on there, you can also follow us for free and you'll get our newsletter. I mean, we'll have stuff out there for you.
Yes. You get free stuff as well. Yes.
Yes. And we also have our book challenge up there.
Yes, we
So
do.
that is up there. It's our book bingo card. So that's something you can get. But back to the storm. So one thing, we were just talking about St. Medard's Bay and how you pronounce the name.
Yes.
St. Medard, in the book, she talked about how that was the patron saint of hurricanes, like protection
Is
from
that for
hurricanes.
real? You did look it up?
I did look.
Okay, because I
Wikipedia
didn't.
has confirmed.
Okay, because I did not.
Wikipedia has confirmed that St. Medard is the patron saint for protection against hurricanes. And this little town, St. Medard's Bay, it sounds like it's kind of like a touristy type beach town because the main character, Geneva, runs an inn that has belonged to her family for several generations. And all of this kind of takes place at the inn, the Rosalie Inn.
Which did not always have that name, and that was really confusing to me.
It was very confusing because I was like, wait a minute, because they called it the Shipwreck.
The Shipwreck Inn. There was something else. It was called something else besides the Shipwreck Inn, and that's because there was like some shipwreck that actually involved like an ancestor of the Fitzroys.
That was the Rosalie.
Yeah, but the Rosalie used to be called the Shipwreck Inn because the shipwreck was near that. They changed the name to Rosalie. That's the last name. Before it was Shipwreck.
But I thought the Rosalie was the name of the ship.
Oh, maybe that is, yeah. But it was called the Shipwreck Inn too. And then before that there was another name, but now I don't know. Because I was like, what the heck? I thought they said there's only one hotel in this town. Yes, it just had multiple names.
And this story does go over 3 storms.
Yes.
And 3 generations.
Yes.
So we kind of get like, and you don't get it all linear. So you get some story that's present day, and then you go back to the 80s, and then you go back to the 60s. So it was really cool the way that things happened because you get to see all these different stories play out and how much similar they are and how like how the storms affect this town. And it made me wonder, I'm like, how many murders happen during natural disasters and then are covered up? I feel like that was a thing that happened. Like after Katrina, there was some murders that were covered up. Even after 9/11, I feel like that's not a natural disaster, but there were people that went missing that they were like, did they actually go missing or did they just leave?
Yeah. No, I feel like that happens in any situation like this. If someone was nearby, then it's like potentially a murderer can get away with it because there's no way to tell. Because that was the thing with Landon Fitzroy, is that he died of a head injury, and they were like, well, his head could have flown into a tree, like he could have hit a tree, could have hit debris could have hit him, and so there was no way to know for sure if that was intentional or not. And in all honesty, from what I gather from the book, had he not been from a prominent family, then it would have just been like, well, this was an unfortunate accident as a byproduct of the hurricane. But because his dad wanted him to be president, his dad
was the governor.
Yes, and his grandfather was a senator, and they just had, higher hopes for him. And it was interesting to see the different perspectives of some of the same people from, like, so for example, like Landon, I feel like we see him from different perspectives of different people at different ages. Like we know, which I guess we'll throw in some spoilers. Like Ellen met him first when he was there with a group. Like,
so first of all, Landon Fitzroy is older than all of the young women that he's around.
Yes.
Because Ellen, whenever he meets her, is 15.
Yes.
And I'm like, ew. And
Yes.
he's in his mid-20s by that point.
Yes.
And she's like, oh, but he acts younger than the other guys his age. And I'm like, no, that is red flag number one.
Yes. Yes.
And they say that, he doesn't have a relationship with her until later.
Mm-hmm.
But that's still icky, in my
It
opinion.
is icky. It was so. Now, here's the thing, guys. We don't get this little anecdote
Snippet.
until very near the end.
Mm-hmm.
Because
most of the stories is around Lo,
yes,
who is Ellen's best friend.
And Ellen is Geneva's mom. Geneva's who currently owns the Rosalie. Ellen is in
a
assisted
nursing
living
home. Yeah.
or nursing home for advanced dementia, like early onset. And, so we're getting their perspectives basically. And then, of course, like we said, some like news clippings or whatever of things that happened. And I will say that is one thing which I don't know if this is good or bad. It was very confusing who was related. Like, it took like the whole book, I feel like, to really figure out who belongs with who. Because like the first person mentioned, because I listed out the characters, because we have a reading guide for this book, you guys. And I listed out all of the characters in order of when they're introduced. And the very first person is Miss Beth Ann Bailey, owner of the town's largest souvenir shop. And that is Gloria's mom. That's Lo's mom. I did not remember that till way later.
Okay.
Then Lo is Ellen's best friend. Ellen's family owns the inn. Lo has the affair when she's like 19 with Landon.
Yep.
And then, but we don't already know that Ellen is actually in love with him and has been writing letters with him for like 4 years.
4 years.
Inappropriate letters, like
I'm
they're
like,
in
tell
love.
Tell me that's not weird. And he's married, by the way.
Oh, yeah, he's married.
So, to a former Miss Alabama.
Yes,
Allison Carlton Fitzroy.
Yes. So it's like, what the heck? And
so I will say that was a little bit confusing because there was
Sand Dollar Inn. That's what it was called before the shipwreck inn. Sorry. Got it. I found it in the characters.
There was a lot of name changing, and we did read the arc. So
that's true.
I'm wondering if some of this has changed.
I bet.
I don't know. So y'all listening, you need to tell us, has this changed? Because there was 3 different names for the inn.
Yes.
So many different characters, and they all went by something else. So Gloria was Lo.
Yes.
And then you had another character, Frida, who was Lo and Ellen's third friend. That was their little trio. Then at some point she disappeared, and then she came back to St. Medard's Bay, and she went by the name Edie.
Yes.
And Geneva hired her to work at the inn, and Edie did not tell her that she had been best friends with her mom growing up.
Nope.
Like, all of that just felt very strange.
Well, and we knew that. Okay, so I think we knew that Geneva's mom was Ellen, but then they called her Ellie. So then it's like everyone had a nickname.
Yes.
Like you said.
And that is part of the South, though, because, this did take place in Alabama. And they even mentioned that, Lo is, calls her Ellen's little girl, Ellen Chambers' girl, or something like that. And I'm like, I can see that being a Southern thing where you're calling the person by a nickname or...
Yeah.
I can see that.
I guess.
But it's still annoying as a reader to have to piece all those together and remember where you are.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't feel as thrown around. I could tell who the characters were. The part that I had trouble with was placing them in the correct timeline.
Oh, that too. Yes.
So for me, that's why I gave it 4 stars. But
I gave it 3.
If it would have been a little bit better to keep track of, I think it would have been a 5-star book for me, because I really did enjoy the twists and turns,
Mm-hmm.
but I kind of got confused on the timeline.
Well, and
And
I think that's
because
where
there
we
was
had.
3 different storms too.
Well, okay, except that there's more than that,
Well, there are
because
more than that are mentioned. Yes.
and that gets confusing too, because one that because like the really big ones in the story
Mhm.
are
Delphine,
when is Delphine?
that was 1965. That's the one where Beth Ann Bailey's husband dies, who is Lo's father.
Okay, yeah. Okay, yes. Okay, see, this is where I mean the timeline sucks. So that was the big one. Then
Hurricane Marie happened in 85.
hang on a sec. 80. Hang on a second. Hang on a second. Which one did their friends' family? When did Frida's family die? Was that in Audrey?
Ooh,
That was 1977, I
that would
think.
probably be about right.
Or was it Velma? When was Velma?
Ugh, see?
See, this is, and I have them. So here I have Hurricane Delphine, July 4th, 1965. Hurricane Marie in 1984. Hurricane Audrey, 1977. Hurricane Velma, no date here. Hurricane Peggy, September 1998.
And
And
Marie
then
was
there's the one,
85.
and then there's the one we're dealing with in the story. It's like, this is where it got so confusing because, yes, okay, so now I get it. 1965,
And I think
that's
the
when,
current one was called Lexi,
okay.
I think.
Lizzie, Hurricane Lizzie.
Okay.
I was like,
So there was a little bit of confusion with that. Names, nicknames, the storms, keeping the timelines accurate, who died when,
mm-hmm.
because all of that comes back kind of at the end, and it's wrapping everything up and telling who, like, you can see how each death fits together and influence the next one,
Yes.
if that makes sense. Because it's almost like the girls are learning as they're going, and
Yes.
they called themselves the Witches of St. Medard's Bay.
Yeah.
The 3 friends, Frida, Ellen, and Lo. I don't know how that really fit in with the book other than
It
one
didn't.
little spot.
I
So
know.
that, like, and they said, we're the Witches of St. Medard's Bay. We're going to bring the storm. We're going to make it worse. I don't know if that really fit.
It
So
didn't. And then
that
at the
part,
end, they tell her that Geneva, that she's one of the witches too. And it's like,
yes. Yeah. And that, I don't know. And we also learn that, so Lo comes back into town with August, who is
yes.
the book writer. Lo and Edie, who we later learn is Frida, don't like each other. Like, automatically they're like Edie tries to leave. Lo says some snarky comment, and then it comes out later that they actually know each other and they grew up together and they were best friends. And Edie was one of the ones who had been the prosecutor's star witness to convict Lo of murder of Landon Fitzroy.
But then the thing gets thrown out because the jury, it's like a hung jury. So like it gets tossed out.
So I don't know. That felt a little bit, I don't know. I didn't know how I felt about all of that.
What did not make sense to me. So then here's the spoiler, what really happened, you guys. Ellen has found out that she's pregnant. Lo suspected that Landon was cheating on her with other women, but looked the other way.
Didn't know it was Ellen.
Did not know that it was Ellen. Finds in his pocket a letter from Ellen to him, recognizes the handwriting, knows that it's her. So she decides she's going to kill him. So
she says she's going to kill him, but she goes to confront Ellen.
She wasn't really, I don't think she really meant
she was
going to kill him.
She was angry enough.
Yeah. Like, she called and his secretary answered and he was unavailable. And then the secretary thought she called back. That was in the trial, but it turns out it was actually Ellen who called. So anyway,
he talked to Ellen.
Yeah. So then Lo goes to confront Ellen, but in the meantime, Landon shows up. Ellen's family were off to see Landon or something.
No, Ellen's family
not
had
Landon,
gone off.
Her brother.
Her brother had gone to like a
camp or something.
It was like a Christian camp.
Yeah, and they were going to go pick him up or something
because he broke his leg.
Okay,
and the
that's what
mom
that was.
couldn't
And so they're
drive,
gone.
so
So
they had to
she's
go.
there by herself, and there's a hurricane. This hurricane's coming.
Which I was like, why would they not take her with them?
Right? That doesn't even make
If there's a
sense.
hurricane coming, like,
Anyway, so she tells him she's pregnant. And this part too, where I'm like, all of a sudden she realizes she's just one of the many women. Like, I'm sorry, it just all of this, like the denial, like the scales falling from the eyes, all of that, like right there in that perfect moment did not make sense to me, but whatever. And I don't know, did she know Lo was there when she
no.
first struck him? No, because he,
Wait, when she first struck him, yes, because
okay.
they were both up there
Oh, that's
at
right,
that time.
because he grabbed Lo and she thought
Mhm,
he was going to hurt Lo. So Ellen hits him in the back of the head with like an anchor, and
mhm.
then he goes down, and then Lo does finish him off. And we find out later that Frida saw all this, saw them try to move the body. They couldn't. They go inside. She goes and she moves the body, yet she's then the star witness against Lo. Like, none
Yeah.
of this makes sense.
I can see her wanting to protect her friends. But there was also some backstory there where the three girls had gone camping and it was Lo's idea, and they had each told their parents they were going to someone else's house. And ends up there was a bad hurricane. This is the one that happened, I'm guessing, in the 70s at some point. And Frida's family, who is also Edie, keep that in mind.
Yes.
Frida's family had gone out looking for them because they had called to other girls' houses and found out that
None of them were
they
there.
had lied. They were all at someone else's house. So they went to go look for him and then got caught in the storm, and her whole family died. And so she blamed Lo. So I can see her wanting to get back at her,
I guess.
but wanting to protect Ellen. Because she said that she heard
I
all of the
guess that makes
stuff
sense. Yeah.
and heard that she was pregnant, which she's pregnant with baby Geneva, who
Yes.
Geneva does not know that Landon Fitzroy is her dad until
Right?
all of this comes out.
Yes.
And then, crazier still,
Yeah, we haven't even gotten
August,
to we haven't gotten to the
August the
August of it
writer,
all.
who she has kissed
God, I know.
very passionately,
Yes.
turns out to be her brother. And
Yes.
they
Her
don't
half
find that
brother.
out until after. Yes, so it's her half brother. Until after they have already kissed. Thank God. I put this in my NetGalley notes. I was like, thank you for not making this into more, because I would have vomited.
Oh, I know. I
That would
know.
have
I'm like,
been,
no,
yeah.
no.
So that's a thing. So Landon Fitzroy had been sleeping with other women.
Yeah.
I mean, Lowe suspected he was. And Geneva and August are half siblings.
Mm-hmm.
Geneva was named Geneva because that was one of Landon's favorite places. And
Mm-hmm.
August was named August because that's the month that Landon died. And I'm like, that felt a little
Yeah.
on the nose. And then how many other kids does this guy have? All around the same, like, are
We
there
don't
more?
know. Well, his wife was barren, so
Yeah.
I don't know.
And that was his big plan, was whenever Ellen said, I'm pregnant, he was like, oh, this is perfect. We'll just send you somewhere. You have the baby, and then me and my wife will adopt the baby.
Yes.
And then we'll raise the baby. And then after a few years, whenever I get elected to wherever, I'll divorce my wife and marry you. And we'll be a happy family. And I'm like, what a weirdo.
Yeah.
Who thinks that? I mean, clearly he wasn't thinking right. And I do
No.
wonder, if he hadn't died that night, would someone else have died?
I think he was ready to kill Lo, at least.
Mhm.
I think
To
he
cover things up.
felt and I think he's not entirely wrong about this. I think he could have convinced Ellen to go with the plan.
Mhm.
I really think he could have. I
And
think
Ellen ends up marrying someone else
yes, she
who
had a
she's had a
boyfriend at the
relationship.
time. Yeah.
Yeah. So that it just all felt very like, did he know that Geneva wasn't his child? Did he suspect?
That during that time, I don't know what they.
If you're marrying someone and you have, I don't know, maybe I'm being judgy Judgerton, but if you've slept with someone else right before you
Right.
get married with someone, you're pregnant with someone else's baby, don't
Yeah.
you owe it to them at some point to tell them? Like, before they get married? I mean, that's why she was getting married
Well,
to him,
but
was to cover up the pregnancy and
and that's
all
where
that.
she'll never know because her mom is so far gone and her dad has died, so she has no
Uh-huh.
idea. And that was something I actually appreciate in this book and really respect that even though like she would talk about saying things to her mom and her mom might tense up or something, she didn't actually say anything because I feel like that would have been an easy way
Yes.
to share information. And instead, she took a harder route because the reality is, as I've seen that in other books where,
Mhm.
something triggers something in the Alzheimer patient and they remember something and they say something. It almost feels like it's forced because I feel like in
Right.
real life that doesn't happen as often as perhaps books and movies want us to think.
To believe.
Yeah, like, and I think it can in a sense, and I don't say this from personal experience. I just could see how it could in a sense be sometimes disrespectful to people that are just dying for that moment for
Connection.
something to
Yeah.
get for it to come back and then never get it. And then in all these other books that something happens and like, oh yes, they get that
Right.
moment. And so I do really respect. I feel like this was a more authentic example. Again, coming from not my personal experience, but from people that I know that have experience that are like friends of my parents and things like that.
I was actually, as I was reading, thinking she's going to have the mom have a moment of lucidity and say, "This is your father," and start responding to her. But she didn't do that. The only thing that she did was there was a bracelet that Landon had given her years ago, and whenever Ellen went into the nursing home, Geneva had brought some of her cheaper costume jewelry so that she could
Mhm.
dress up a little bit. And they kept putting the bracelet on her wrist and she kept throwing it off.
Mhm.
And almost like she didn't want
Yeah.
to have anything to do with it. So in her own way, she was saying, I don't like this person, but she
Mhm.
wasn't verbalizing that. And a lot of times, if someone has Alzheimer's, they can lose that ability to speak too.
Mhm.
So that felt very realistic to
That
me.
part, yes, definitely.
The whole thing with Edie and Frida being the same person and them not knowing, that felt a little weird. And why wouldn't Frida say something? Like, why create a whole new persona to come back to
Well,
work at the
she
end?
didn't even come like her
She
first
was
job
working at
was
the coffee shop. Yeah.
so like I don't know. I don't know. That would be some interesting information to get is that maybe she came back just to check on Ellen's daughter. I don't know because maybe she heard about the Alzheimer's because it had only been a couple of years. Like it was a fast onset.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe she just was coming back to see her. I don't know.
And I kind of expected whenever Frida's family died in the hurricane and they said she went to go live with her aunt, I was picturing she went to go live with an aunt in another town.
Mhm.
And that was how that's why she, went away and came back as Edie. And I was like, oh, okay, that's what's going to happen. And then that wasn't what happened. And she was there the whole time that all of this was going on. And
Yeah.
that just felt a little different to me. There were some parts that I didn't particularly like. I did love how Beth Ann and her husband, and Lo and Landon, and Lo and Geneva with August, all of that was kind of like the big storms in their life.
Mhm.
And then the history repeating itself, I
Yeah.
guess,
Yeah.
was kind of the overarching theme.
Mhm.
And then I was like, man, Lo's family is just messed up. Like, I mean, if we're doing spoilers, she's been involved. Apparently, her mom must have been pregnant with her whenever
Yeah.
the dad died, which that was the part that I was like, okay, they made a scene where Beth Ann is like saying, I'm glad that I'm not pregnant whenever Ellen's mom is pregnant with her.
Yeah.
And she was like, I'm glad I didn't have a baby with my husband. And then she has Lo. So I was like, where did that come from? I felt like they didn't explain that, like, oh, and then I found out I was pregnant
Right.
a few months
Right.
later or after the death, and why she stayed there rather than going back home,
Yeah, I don't know.
because she did not explain that. So those were things that I had issues with, but I did like how the history repeated itself. I liked the characters because they were all flawed in different ways.
They
And
were
I
and they were
didn't
interesting.
and I didn't feel like any of them were reliable narrators.
No. Which, I mean, I could think that kinda shows that, like, even in our own lives as we remember things and as years go
Mhm,
on, like, what is it that they say? That every time we remember a moment, we're remembering actually the last time we remembered the moment. So, like,
mhm,
things might not look exactly the same. And then also, a lot of times, if we have like strong emotions, especially when it comes to words, like we will remember how we felt and kind of change in our brain what the actual words were. And which is so interesting. And I've seen that play out on reality television so many times where people are like, so and so said this. And it's like, they have it recorded. That's not what they said. That's what you felt they said. But
yeah,
anyway, but it's like, it's something worth paying attention to in our own lives. But yeah, it's kind of, we're all, well, even police say that because y'all know, love my true crime, that witnesses, there are certain things that all witnesses are very unreliable about.
mhm.
And of course, now I can't think of it, but they're like, it's not, they do not worry when initial conversations with witnesses if things don't match or if stories change, because that's part of the processing
Mhm,
of what we saw. And it doesn't necessarily mean
interesting.
someone's lying or covering something up. So it's interesting.
How did you feel about the reveal with August that
Um,
he had orchestrated all of this and
I mean, okay, so I had I had kind of figured out that Ellen, I had decided early on that Ellen had killed Landon. August, as soon as he said to Geneva something along the lines of like, this might, I might not be writing the book Lo thinks I am, then
Mhm,
I was like, okay, what is going on here? Why is this young guy? Because what I thought was weird from the beginning, this did not make sense to me at all, Lena, is that Lo wanted to do a podcast. And here's
mhm,
this guy saying, no, 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 that's not the way to go. Let's do a memoir. And I was like, that is very suspicious. So he was kind of on my radar for like, something's not right here because that did not make that seem so backwards. And I
mhm,
realized they're like, they're a couple years younger than us. They're like 40. So, I'm like, even at 40, I think if someone went to any of our other friends and are like, should I do a memoir about this or should I do a podcast? And it's some famous case, I think our people be like, do a podcast. Like people are going to want to hear your voice. They're going to want to put all this together. So it
mhm.
really seemed strange to me that he really pushed that format instead. So I was like, there has to be more. But I did not really see that coming until maybe right before the reveal. So it wasn't like I knew this was coming. The only one that I was just proud of was that I was like, Ellen did it. But technically, Lo probably did the final blow. So
Lo did the final blow, but I also felt like that was true friendship.
yeah.
Like,
Because she knew that Ellen would not be able to handle that.
and Ellen didn't kill him, but she struck first and
Yeah.
definitely hurt him. It sounded like he was having seizure and
Yeah. Probably would
like,
not have survived, or if he had, he would have been,
yes.
he would not be himself.
So Lo finished him off, but did that because she loved Ellen.
Hmm.
And I was like, okay, I kind of admire that. Not that I would want someone to kill
Right.
for me, but
Right.
I admire their friendship that they were able to do that. Um, I the whole thing with August, I didn't catch on that he was nefarious until he said that Lo had told him or contacted him about writing the book. And I'm like, that's not what happened.
Yeah.
That's not what
Yeah.
we learned at the
Yeah.
beginning of the book. So he's lying about something. Now, Frida was attacked, or Edie, or whatever you want to call her. And I never thought that August was behind that, which it turns out that he was. So I wasn't planning on him being that bad of a guy. I wasn't planning on him being a son, for sure.
Yeah. No, at that point, when that happened, I was like, I don't know what happened, but it seemed too obvious for it to be Low to hit
Hmm.
her in the same way, essentially.
Yeah.
That seemed, I don't know. Rachel Hawkins has been hit or miss for me as well. Well, most of
Hmm.
her books I've really enjoyed, but there is one, Reckless Girls, that I cannot stand. And so I was like, maybe she's having a moment
Hmm.
and can't quite get back to where I don't know. But yeah, I didn't see him. as this sinister guy. I think she wrote him well
Mhm.
until, like, that hint where he totally lied about that, and then
And then he just kind of went cuckoo bananas at the end.
yeah, that
And
in
it was
that part,
just
I'm
like,
like, "Yeah, that was strange." And I'm like, "Why would you?" I don't know. But maybe
and he
his
wanted to
family, I
kill her,
mean,
right? Like that
yeah,
was
he wanted to
his,
kill her, that was his plan.
yeah.
That was his plan, was to kill her, and I'm like, "Okay." I mean, we
I feel
know
like
his
he should have written the book that he wanted to and
exposed her.
exposed her, and that would have been more damning than
Yeah.
killing her. I mean, I don't
But I
know.
think that too, like, he didn't want to acknowledge, like, his dad was the bad guy in this story. Like,
And I mean, yeah, and he sounded like he kind of idolized him or thought that he would have stayed for these children.
yeah.
And maybe
Probably
he
because
would
that
have in his own way, like he would have adopted them, or can you
we
even
don't know. We
imagine?
don't know what that New Orleans. We don't know what August's mom. We don't know anything about her.
Mhm,
So she could have been as fooled by him as Ellen was until she wasn't, you
mhm.
know? And
There was
I don't
there
know.
was a lot going on.
There
Landon was not
was.
a good guy.
No.
And it felt like he, had kind of said, like, "I don't wanna do these political aspirations like my father wants me to," but then he was doing them, and then whenever
Yeah.
Ellen told him that she was pregnant, he was like, "No, I gotta wait till I get elected, and then we can do all this stuff." So,
Right.
I felt like he was lying to everybody.
He was. He was lying to
He's not a good
everyone.
guy. So, would you recommend this book to other people?
I don't know.
I would definitely recommend other people read it. I thought it was well done. You clear like, I know you have some, and as we're talking about it, I'm like, I can see the issues, but I thought it was a fun, fast read, and I
It
enjoyed
was
it.
a fun fact. Okay, so, like, from that, yes, I could not put it down. From start, I just wanted to read it. I was actually kind of annoyed that I had to take notes while I was reading it. It wasn't so bad, but I was like, "I just wanna read and not have to worry about all these names that I'm gonna forget in 2 minutes."
I would concur that I just wanted to read it and not take
Yeah.
notes,
If
but
you're not gonna analyze it to the depth that we have, which that's part of the
maybe that's
purpose
part of
of
it.
what we do, then yes, it's an enjoyable read. If you're not gonna think too deeply about it and not spend, like, hours
Yeah.
on it where you're like, "I gotta think about this, I gotta know things," then yes, go read it.
But I think
Have
it
fun
could
with it.
be a fun book club book too, though,
Oh,
where
definitely.
you're like, okay, what character did you like? Which one do you think was more telling the truth? I mean, because there's all these different
Yeah,
narrators, and even August, it's like August's notes are some of the like his book that he's writing are one of the sources that they have, and then you don't find out till the end that he was writing it from the she's the villain perspective,
right.
and that made me go back and be like, oh, maybe I should have taken those with a grain of salt because maybe that stuff isn't as true. So it would be kind of interesting to parse through that and
Yeah.
see what other people came up with.
Oh, definitely. I think it would be a good one. I mean, we've had a nice discussion about it, Lena, so I think it's definitely worth talking about, and I think
Mhm,
our the resources that we created while reading this with our reading guide, I think are really good to help
mhm.
facilitate that, which if you don't know what types of things we include in our reading guides, just to give you an idea of what every reading guide is going to have, we have a table of contents, a playlist of suggested songs that either they might have been mentioned in the book or they relate. So, spoiler alert, obviously, Rock You Like a Hurricane is on this one's playlist. I'm just saying. I mean, it had to. We have menu ideas, character guide, like very detailed. Like, I put even people that are only mentioned once, they're on there. Summary, discussion questions, a word search, a crossword puzzle, a word scramble, a game called It's Dicey, where you roll the dice and have certain questions to answer based on that, trivia. And if we have any like specific game that we can create specific to this book, that will go on there as well to give you an idea. If you have read the book Quicksilver, we do have a reading guide out there already for Quicksilver. And the special game we created just for that is called Water Rations, where you can steal people's water rations throughout the book club gathering. So
See who
that's
has
just
the most water at the end.
yes, and then you get a little prize. So we have all this, whether you're in a book club or you just want the resources to help you, or just like I love a good word search. Like that's my favorite one.
And I will say this is the reading guide, the characters, whenever you're going through, it does have some spoilers. So I would read it after you've read the book, but you could have the guide, and you could do some of the activities.
Mm-hmm.
Or even just have those at your book club while you're sitting there talking and hanging out. So lots of different options.
Mm-hmm.
But we hope that you guys like it. It was fun to create.
It is fun. We're happy. It's a good way to. It's a good outlet for our creativity. So
yes,
yeah,
and we're looking at doing Operation Bounce House for February. So
we are.
I'm excited. This will be your first Matt Dinneman book.
It will be my first one. So it's very
exciting. Welcome to the crawl.
Yes.
To the crawler world, I guess, universe.
I'm excited.
All right, friends. We have talked about the storm and given you our thoughts. Let us know what you think about this. Make sure that you like and subscribe our podcast. And then you can also just comment on there and we can message back and forth about how you felt about the book, or join our Patreon community and we can talk back and forth about that as well. Yep. Lots of different ways to connect with us. We'd love to hear your thoughts on the storm if you've read it and what you think.
And let us know if it was different than some of the stuff we talked about in our advanced reader copies.
I am curious to see what they change, but if anything.
If anything, I know, right? We don't know. But I do know this because you've gotten lots of arcs too. This one did not have the actual cover. So it's a true, like, does yours, mine had audio.
I had audio and it had the actual cover.
Oh, mine did not. It has like kind of like a generic cover. So
interesting.
Yeah. Who knows? Oh, well.
So we'll see.
All right. Well, I guess that's all for now. See you all next time. Week. All right. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to More Than a Book Club podcast. We are recorded and produced in McKinney, Texas.
Don't forget to like and subscribe wherever you get your podcast and follow us on Instagram and TikTok.
Thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening.